Are you in the home stretch of homeschooling? My name is Lee Benz, and I'm the HomeScholar. And I wanted to sort of talk you through the 9 steps to graduation to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row, everything's ready to go. And when you think about high school, step one is to aim for college. Not at all because your children have to go or should go or it's the best place to go. It's really you aim for college because it's where they might go. You see, I've noticed in my years as a parent, as a years of a homeschool consultant, I've noticed that teenagers tend to change their mind. And when that happens, you want to be prepared. And while it's easy to be prepared for a career that does not require college because you just start working and you learn on the job, it's a lot harder to be prepared from early on when it does require college. So it definitely saves you sanity and saves trouble if you aim for college from the very beginning. College bound or not, you provide a college prep education, and that gives your child maximum flexibility. So no matter what they want to be, they will be better educated and readier for it. Okay. Number two, you plan high school courses. Now, that begs the question, what's a high school course, right? So let's talk about that. Having a college prep education means you have these standard classes. You have 4 years of English, one whole credit, one whole class per year. But all that really means is reading and writing at your child's level. Now, of course, the educational words for those are literature and composition. But really, it's reading and writing at your child's level. You want to have 4 years of math. Again, at your child's level, they don't necessarily have to have calculus in order to be college prep. They just need 4 years of math. Then you want to have 3 to 4 years of social studies. Here's where it gets a little tricky. You want to have 1 year of world history, 1 year of American history, at least a half a year of economics, and at least a half a year of government. And that's why it's either 3 or 4 credits. Now, college prep also means 3 years of science, and one of those has to be a lab science. Now, that doesn't mean you have to teach biology, chemistry, and physics. And actually, physics is pretty uncommon in high school. So I don't want you to feel like you have to have that. Definitely try to get at least one of those standard sciences in, either biology or chemistry, and total up to 3 sciences with at least 1 lab. And then you want to include some things that aren't done every year, including foreign language. So you want to have 2 to 3 or maybe even 4 years of a foreign language. It depends on what college you want to go to. And then you want to have 2 years of PE, or if you prefer, you can do a half a year of PE for 4 years in a row. And then you want to have at least 1 credit of fine art. Now, the fine arts are music, art, theater, and dance. And you don't have to do all of them, and you don't have to do 1 credit of all of them. You can mix them together. And then you want to make sure your child has plenty of electives. Those electives are going to be helpful in demonstrating things that they truly care about if they're college bound, and it's going to build their high school resume if they decide to go straight into the job force. So it's very important. All right, number 3, you want to prepare for high school tests. Usually that means your child takes the PSAT in 10th or 11th grade. They take it for real in 11th grade. And then somewhere in 11th grade, they take either the SAT or the ACT. And you're trying to provide those universally accepted tests to be ready in case you decide to apply to college. There is an alternative, the CLT. It's not accepted by very many colleges yet, so I still am recommending the SAT or ACT primarily. And then you want to think through any subject tests that you might need. There are some colleges that like to see subject tests from students, and those are like the SAT2 subject test or the AP exam or an AP course, something like that. Number 4 is to encourage electives. I know it's easier to have your child sit on a couch all day, but it's actually better for them if they have these great electives and get outside and have their extracurricular activities. These can be very significant things in your child's life if they do community service or volunteer work or have a real job or an internship in the field, an apprenticeship. All of those things can help them no matter what career they have planned in the future. All right, number 5, you want to choose a perfect fit college where you can apply. Finding the perfect college for your child has nothing to do with where their friends are going or where somebody told you your child should go, but instead it's a perfect fit for them spiritually, emotionally, academically, and that means that you've spent some time actually looking. So one of the major chores of 11th grade is spending the time to find a college that's going to be a perfect fit for your child. Number 6, you want to consider college financing. And by that, I don't mean, oh, look, we have no college financing. Instead, it's where you are putting in some conscious effort to try to figure out how is this going to happen. You're perhaps saving money. You're looking into scholarships. You're trying to find some colleges that provide excellent scholarships. And of course, during senior year, you want to complete the FAFSA, F-A-F-S-A, the FAFSA. That's how you get need-based scholarships, and that has to be filled out in October of 12th grade. And you want to fill it out as soon as possible after October 1st to make sure you're first in line for those need-based scholarships. Okay, number 7, you want to make sure that you're preparing your homeschool records. If your child ultimately does not go to college, you really need to have a transcript. You really need to have a diploma, because when your child is asked, do you have a high school diploma? You want them to answer, yes, I have a high school diploma. You don't want them to answer, I don't know, I was homeschooled. That would be bad. Okay. You also want them to have a transcript, because even if they don't require a transcript now, their job doesn't need it, they're not going to college. That doesn't mean it's not going to be required 10 years from now, or 20 years from now, or 30 years from now. And as hard as it may seem to make your transcript today, it would be harder 10 years from now. Can we just agree? So you want to make sure that those are ready. And if your child is college bound, then you want to make sure that you have course descriptions, an activity list, reading list, all of the papers that colleges might understand, explaining your grading criteria, having a school profile, a cover letter. Here's the transcript for my child. You want to have a cover letter for that. So preparing all the paperwork. Number 8 is applying for college or career. Now, you can't really apply for a career in September of 11th grade, but you have to apply for college in September of 12th grade. So I suggest that you apply for colleges. It's just great practice anyway of filling out applications. It's great practice with having an interview, right? And then you fill out those applications for college and you see where the scholarships stand, and you decide, wow, it's cheaper to do this than it is to do that, right? Or as the year goes through, your child still is consistent about not wanting to go to college. And then at that point, you can start at the end of 12th grade, you can start applying for a job. And number 9, this one's probably the most important. Are you ready? You probably need paper and pencil for this. Okay. Number 9 is to be confident in the benefits of homeschooling. You know, we have such an advantage in college preparation. I don't know if you know this, but homeschoolers are actually more likely to get into an Ivy League school than a public schooler, because we provide such an excellent education and we have kids that care so deeply about things. But really, the research shows that homeschooling is very effective in just producing successful, thriving adults of all kinds. And I think that's because we are not just the caregivers, we're not just the teachers, we're actually the love givers, the person who has shaped and molded this child throughout this whole, experiment of homeschooling. So be brave, right? You, as the parent, you know better than anyone what your child can do, where your child should end up going, how quickly they change their mind. And I know that sometimes life gets a little crazy, right? And the best laid plans often go astray. But I want you to think about how thankful you can be about homeschooling, because when homeschooling is over, you will be able to always say, I did my best. I did the very best that I could do. And that is a great place for you to be, right? Right there in the center of God's will, making sure that you've done literally everything you could to set this child up for success. And there's nothing like that feeling of knowing you gave it your all until you were tired at the end of every day. And so you don't have to look back with any regrets about your decision to homeschooling at all, because you've given it everything that you could. I know homeschooling is hard and can be challenging at times, and my job is to help you and to support you in your decision to homeschool. So if you do have a need for some support, please reach out. Have a great day.